Okay, did I take it out? Yes, I did. How's everybody doing? Yeah, excuse me, I'm not wearing a brassiere. Oh my god. Hang on. There's something in my tooth. That just happened. Excuse me. There we go. It just happened. How's everybody doing? It has become, oh my God, she's not even waiting for me to turn around. Oh my goodness. Your ears bugging you? No, they look pretty good. Mommy baby, aren't you? You mommy baby? You're so boy. Sit on your ear. Little bitchy there. I love you, Gracie. Have a kiss? Alright, you got snotties in your eye. Let me get it. No, get down a little bit. Oh my goodness. Alright, where you go. Sorry about that. She's been missing me. I went out shopping today. I took Briar out shopping. Hey, let me say hi to everybody. Aldo, Betty, Jean, me and you. Hey, it's Heather, right? Is it Heather or Maggie? I always get it mixed up. I think it's Heather. Mr. Bucky, Sherry Leach, Tina B, Utter Chaos, Vicky Lemire, Whitney Gibson. How's everybody doing? What a day. I'm sorry I'm late. I actually thought we were going to be doing Thursdays later in the day and Sundays at 4. So I kind of, hi Nana, I kind of got thrown Angie. So Heather and Maggie were completely off, but I got the E right? No, that was even wrong in Heather. Angie, how are you, darling? So anyway, I went out today to take Briar to get his groceries. And I kind of had a few pissy. Now listen, I know I'm working really hard at being positive and putting out positive vibes and all that shit, but I still get pissed off at stupidity and inconsiderate behavior, right? Whitney Gibson finally sold our house in Virginia and preparing to move for our move to Florida. Busy week. Now, why would you go from Virginia to Florida? Just out of curiosity. Hey, Rena. I made you giggle. Well, I'm glad I made you giggle. Hey, Bourbon. Heather gave who a shout out last night? Gave you one, Suburban? Hi, Billy. How's it going? Excuse me. I ate a couple of pieces of popcorn while I was making my cup of tea, and it gets everywhere in your teeth. That's why I usually only eat it at night. Me, really? I love Heather. She is a shining example of kindness and love and sharing and being a wonderful person despite the adversities. I mean, she's just a sweetie, eh? That's why I don't enjoy popped corn. Well, I bought myself a new popcorn maker because I burn through one every couple of years. And because what I use it for is if I have to eat a snack at night, and sometimes I use my medical butter on it. So I make popcorn because I can make a small bowl and use the amount of butter I need for my bedtime. I hate Virginia. It's so bloody expensive and I want my freedom back. My husband was laid off 5 times in 14 months. We've had it. Well, then you know what you got to do, right? She was live on another channel, first time since the accident. Oh, I wish I'd been there. Billy Buckland, I'm exhausted. I spent about 4 hours outside watering and feeding in the greenhouse and garden. Oh, honey, well, it's time to sit down and have a cold drink and sit with Mama. Hey, Avon Leanne. Which one was it? Was it the one about the bread? I haven't had a chance to sit down and watch that yet. It's on my to-do list. It really is. Um, but so today, now everybody knows my shit with Tim Hortons. Sorry, everybody knows what my ongoing battles with Tim Hortons have been going on 4 or 5 years since before Nan left, right? We all need strength, absolutely. So this morning, being Thursday morning, and Nan is coming tomorrow, and no, I haven't got my housework finished because Howie was supposed to help me. Because there's certain things I can't do. We sleep in separate beds, and I can't strip and make his bed because it's too close to the wall, and I can't get in behind it. And there's also, I've folded laundry, and I put his in baskets on his bed and mine in baskets on my bed, and I put mine away. I've got one more load to put away. But he just keeps putting them in laundry baskets. So he's got 3 overflowing laundry baskets. And I had tried. I told him last week, there's a garbage bag on the floor at the foot of your dresser. Start going through your clothes because you can't possibly wear everything that is puking out all over our bedroom. I got a half a garbage bag of my clothes out of there first, right? Oh, I'm going to have to watch it. The Mud Broker. What's Mud Broker? I seen the one with the bread. So proud of her. Well, tell me, can somebody leave a link in? Oh, no, I guess you can't. Can somebody message me the link for the one that she does? Does she shout me out in the bread video or not? Because if not, then, because I want to watch them both, right? If they're 2 separate videos, I don't want to get mixed up. So I have a beautiful yellow dendrobium orchid in bloom in the greenhouse. Oh, you got to start posting pictures. Oh, Mudbrooker. Okay, well, I'm going to have to subscribe, right? So everybody remembers all the crap I went through with Tim Hortons, and then I boycotted them for like a year. And then I started going again because they changed staff more than most people change their frickin' underwear. Well, not really, but you get the picture, right? So the last 3 times, including today, so 2 times before today, they got my orders wrong. Last week on Thursday, when I took Briar, because he shops weekly, I took Briar to go shopping. He always not been losing any more weight, so I'm doubling down. Honey, you may want to break the pattern. Remind me about breaking the pattern in dieting in a minute, okay? So the last week, Briar and I went, and the guy, and it was the same team today. They must put them on this shift on Thursdays to train them or something because they're new. So the guy who comes on the speaker, there's a recording, and it's like, can I help you? And that's a recording, and then you say yes, and some other person comes on to take your order. Well, the guy taking my order had to be explained 3 times. This is last week. How to make my tea. And this, I couldn't figure out why the lineups at the drive-thru are now 10, 15, sometimes 20 minutes long. Because they're training people. People whose first language is not English, but their second language is French. Right? But their English isn't a prerequisite in Quebec because we're a unilingual province, you feel me? So if you don't want, they don't have to speak to you in English. They don't have to speak English to get that job. So the guy comes on, and I explained to him 3 times because he was confused that you put 1 tea bag in the extra large cup, fill it up, and put in 2 milk. 1 extra large orange pico tea, 1 tea bag, 2 milk. I'm sure you guys are sick of hearing this. Thank you, Chaos. Hi, Kim. How's it going? So I explained it to him 3 times, and then I said 2 sausage breakfast sandwiches on English muffins, 3 hash browns, because we had Gracie with us last week, and she gets a hash brown, and a small ice cap. So that's 2 breakfast sandwiches, 3 hash browns, a small ice cap, and an extra large orange pico tea, 1 tea bag, 2 milk. We get up there. They've forgotten one of his sandwiches. Now, it's not the same person who took the order as who's handing it to me. And she didn't understand what I meant either. When I went through the bag first, now they got my tea right, but I went through the bag first and I went, no, there's only one sandwich in here. He ordered two. And she went, but, and she showed me she couldn't speak English. But she said, but see, only one. And I said, no. The guy and Briar's going, Mom, never mind. He said to the woman, he looked around me, he said, it's a wrong order, but you didn't charge me for the whole order, so I'm fine. And I'm telling Briar, and I said, just because the guy took the order wrong and you wrote it down and the receipt is wrong, doesn't mean I am wrong. And Briar's going, Mom, let's just go. And that frustrates me more than anything, because I can get my point across without being a miserable bitch if you just don't interrupt me. So I left. Right? That was the second time in 2 weeks. They got the second time that I'd gone there twice, they got my order wrong both times. So today, I called Briar. I told Briar last night, do you need me to take you shopping tomorrow? He said, yes, please. So I said, okay, I went back to bed after Howard went to work. I got up. I got dressed. I fixed my hair. I put Gracie out. I fed her. I watered her and all that stuff. It takes me about 45 minutes to get my shit together to go out. So I said to Briar, another pet peeve, when I put last Thursday or Friday, I put $45 gas in my truck. Howie used my truck to take his race car to the test and tune on Saturday and said, I put $20 in it. I got in my truck today and I didn't think I had enough gas to actually make it to the gas station in Chelsea, which is 10 cents cheaper. The gas up here, the last time I looked, it was $1.43 a liter, folks. You can do the math. So I was a little pissed about that to begin with, too. I put $45 in my truck and I go to get into it and it's empty? Not cool. So I said to Briar, I said, I don't think we have enough gas to go through the drive-thru at Tim Hortons and still make it to Chelsea's. And he looked at the thing and he said, oh yeah, Mom, you're fine. Right? So we get to Tim Hortons. I said, you going to buy me a tea? And he said, absolutely. He said, breakfast if you want. And I said, no, just want my tea because I haven't had my cup of tea yet and I need my cup of tea. Right? Hey, Bobby Joe. Ahmad, hi. I got green tomatoes, haven't Leanne, but they will be coming soon. Hey, X-Tree Mom. So anyway, my brain doesn't do liters. Okay, $1.40 a liter, not $1.43. Let's just keep it simple. $1.40 a liter is $5.20 a gallon, roughly. For you guys, it would be $5.20 for a gallon of gas. So we go to Tim Hortons and there's a huge lineup in the drive-thru. And I looked at Brian and said, I'm not sure I have enough gas to wait in line in the drive-thru and still make it to Chelsea. Do you want to go in? And he said, no, Mom, you're fine. You got plenty of gas. Well, then I spent 10 minutes explaining my tea and the order, making sure they got it right this time. 2 breakfast sandwiches. Unless Gracie's with us, the order never changes. 2 breakfast sandwiches, 2 hash browns, a small ice cap, and I get a cup of tea. And I explained it 3 times because he didn't understand what I was saying. So I finally get up to the window, and it's the same woman who tried to explain to me that I was wrong because the receipt was right because the first person who took the order got it wrong last week. But it's the same girl. And I get up there and she hands me the bag and I check 2 hash browns, 2 sandwiches. There you go. She hands me an ice cap. I said, okay, there you go. She hands me my tea. and in it is one orange Pico tea bag and one green tea bag. And I just handed it back. Not only was the amount wrong, but she got the combination wrong. So I handed it back and I said, one orange Pico tea bag, 2 milk. And she looked at me like a deer in the headlights. And she said something to somebody, and then she turned back and she said, oh, I'll get another. I said, good. Then she handed me a cup of tea with 2 tea bags in it, 1 milk. And I just put it back on because everything had been paid for. I just put it back and drove away. And Briar goes, Mom, what are you doing? I said, she got it wrong again. And he goes, Mom? I said, no, Briar. She handed it to me wrong. And I gave it back and she handed it to me wrong again. The kindest thing I can do at this point is drive away before I say something I'm going to regret. Now, here is a millennial. What's going on this is a millennial. Okay, my son's a millennial. Briar's a millennial. You feel that? You hear me? Hi, Patricia. How's it going, sweetheart? And he goes, so as we're pulling out onto the road, he goes, well, what do you mean you'd say something you regret? And I said, Briar, I'm upset. I'm angry. I don't want to say something I'm going to regret. And he goes, what? You mean like a racist remark? And I went, because the person was of color. And I went, what? He goes, were you going to say something like that? I said, Briar, me, of all people, saying something racist. No, son. What I would have regretted if I had not driven away is the fact that I was going to hold up the line for another 20 minutes because I was going to call for the manager. That's what I was going to regret. And I was going to get angry because you were going to interrupt me while I'm trying to talk to the manager, and we were going to be holding up a line. So I drove. The discretion was the better part of valor, and I pulled away. How could he even think? But there is so much stuff in the media right now about racism and what do they call it? When it's like ingrained racism in our country. And yet I raised those boys. Okay? I raised my sons. And they wouldn't use the N-word because they know they'd get their mouth washed out with soap. But why would you expect me to say something racial that I would regret? That's not who the fuck I am. How do my kids not know that that's not who I am? One orange tea bag, 2 milk. Doesn't sound like rocket science. Well, the problem is they train these people like a conveyor belt. So the moment somebody asks for an extra large tea, they immediately put 2 tea bags in it. That's why I'm very specific. Because, the first time, remember they got his order wrong the first, they shorted us a sandwich. Well, the time before that, they put 2 tea bags in my tea. And by the time I got it, it was too strong for me to drink and I had to give it back. So this was 3 strikes, you're out. Systemic racism. Thank you. Right? Well, the point is, Karen Doc, a cup of tea is not worth it. And all that, just bring your own. Okay. This is the problem, Karen. All right? Tim Hortons went to crap for about 3 years. Then they upped their game because they were losing money because people couldn't come into the restaurant. So they got their shit down really well at the drive-thru. And I was thrilled as shit. I was thrilled. But now people are allowed back in the restaurants again, and they're sticking people on the speaker to take the orders and at the window who don't understand what they're supposed to be doing. If you can't understand the language, how can you serve the customers? I mean, it's nuts. So I don't want to talk about racism. All I'm saying is I was born in Toronto. I was born and raised until I was 12 going to school in an industrial district, blue collar district of Toronto. You honestly think that there's any racist in me at all? Half of my friends were from Japan, China, Jamaica, India. I mean, it was a literally a multicultural school, right? But the whole point, I'm going to answer, Karen, the whole point of why do I bother? And this is, I'm going to explain the way I explained to Briar last week when they forgot his sandwich. And he went, well, they didn't charge me for it, so it's all right. And he kept interrupting me because I wanted to say, you didn't get his sandwich right because the guy didn't take the order right. Just because it says what he said to say on the receipt doesn't mean you got it right. Both of you are wrong. And Briar's like, let's just go, blah, 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 blah. So when we pulled out, this was last week, I said to Briar, it's called customer service. And if they get the orders wrong every single time I go through the drive-through, it is not just my right, but my duty to tell them that they're fucking up. Do you know why? And pardon my language, I'm sorry about that. Do you know why? Because if nobody tells them it's wrong, and the person in the passenger seat's going, never mind, it's okay. All they're going to hear is, it's okay. Because they're not understanding, I have to be very calm and explain, about the tea, about the order. Just because it says so on the receipt doesn't mean it's right. Yes, that's what we paid for, but it's not what we ordered. But I couldn't get that out with any form of calmness because I've got Briar in the other seat going, just let it go. And I said, Briar, it's my duty. It's everybody's duty to tell a person if they're doing the job wrong, then they need to be told. If management's not telling them and the customers are saying, oh, it's okay, who's the next person going to blame when they get the order wrong? Right? I know, Sage, it's only getting worse. We have about 220 Timmys here. Everyone is different. Customer service, tastes of coffee. I have one and only go there in the area. Otherwise, I come home for coffee. Well, you lived in TO for 14 years in Melbourne, Shepherd and Nielsen. First couple of days when we moved into our house, hubby caught somebody trying to steal our truck. You want to hear something else? They're changing the name of Dundas Street. Because apparently, now this is only for Canadians and Ontarians specifically, but Dundas Street is one of the oldest streets in Toronto. It's like Yonge Street, okay? It's Dundas. Now, I don't know where they got the name Yonge Street from, but apparently they got the name Yonge Street over some British guy who didn't help with shutting down slavery fast enough. Not that he was instrumental in bringing about slavery, but that he wasn't instrumental in closing it down fast enough. What's that got to do with Canada? We don't have slavery in Canada. Why? Okay, and now people, I gotta say this. No, Sherry Leach, they're changing the name of Dundas. Because of some guy. I didn't know what the name was named after. So do they teach us in school where the street names come from? No, they fucking don't. So why? Why bother? Right? But here, it gets better. All right, this is my political rant for the day so that I can flood it all out and get into my zone again. Queen Street has streetcars. Dundas has streetcars, depending on where you are. Dundas Street West. Okay? But the thing is, well, just a second. So, oh, see, you can't even get the longest street in the world, Yonge Street, and for its name, the Toronto Star building, so named because the building provides office space for the largest daily newspaper, but they don't tell you where the name Yonge Street comes from. Pretty sure it's some English lord or something. Okay? But what they mentioned is as soon as they talked about, oh, it's systemic racism and we've got to get rid of the name of Dundas Street, right? This was on the news last night, right? This is why I don't watch the news. And I'm sorry if some English lord didn't help end slavery fast enough. What has that got to do with changing the name of a street in Toronto, Canada, Ontario, Canada? Now, as soon as that was over, they started talking about, oh, we need more, for immigrants and for people in the lower class, and how we need more housing, we need more this, we need more that, we need more this. And I went, do you have any idea how much it's going to cost to change all the signs on Dundas? And it's not just the street signs. There's hundreds of businesses that have Dundas in their name because they're on Dundas. And they've got to be changed too. Millions of dollars to change a name. And then people are bitching that we don't have enough money to help people have clean water and public housing and all that stuff. But you're going to spend over millions of dollars on changing a street name. You know what I mean? Hey, Helen22. Hi, Andrew. How's it going? Does anyone live in one of the states that has a disease outbreak that is affecting the birds? I have been seeing dead birds when walking cuddles. It's causing the birds blindness and neurological issues. It's probably, they've been, I don't know. But I'll lay money, it's got to be one of three things. Pesticides, herbicides, or fungicides, baby. What's going on, Suburban Hillbilly? They're removing Civil War monuments all over the southern U.S., spending millions doing so. I think they should be a reminder and teaching lessons not to repeat history. Well, if you this is the whole canceling culture, right? The cancel culture. Sir John A. Macdonald, our first prime minister, the father of Confederation in Canada, is being defaced, painted over, torn down because he was instrumental in bringing about residential schools. Okay, I got that. They need to put a great big plaque right next to his statue saying, guess what? For all these wonderful things he did in Canada, and trust me, he did a lot of wonderful things. These are some of his bad ideas and the outcomes. These are parts of our history and present that we need to be ashamed of. But you don't tear down the whole statue. Yeah, but you remember, those who forget history are destined to repeat it, right? We were told not to put bird feeders out in North Indiana because of dead birds. Hey, Joe Mama. Hey, Booze Cruise. Well, if they were saying not putting bird feeders out because of dead birds, what's that got to do with anything? Stop feeding the birds or they're dying? No. Oh, I may get hubby to drive me at midnight just to avoid the traffic, but then he has to turn around and go home because Cat and Lee take you where, Shalimar? I missed something there. Oh, okay, Joe Mama. How's Scott doing? So, I mean, is there any one way to fix the errors of the past? Hell no. But erasing it? Not good idea. You know what you need to do? Is you need to change the history books. You need to include in history, you need, and I don't mean history as in the past. I mean history coming up to this point. This is a really important time in our history. We're not going to tear down Queen Victoria statues and Sir John A. Macdonald statues and war memorial monuments in the South. Why? Because they're important to even if only to point out where the mistakes were made. This is what happens, folks, when you don't get the whole story, you know? Because guess what? All these people are people. They're just humans. They all make mistakes. And guess what? They thought they were doing the right thing at the time. Does that change that what is wrong? Absolutely not. But it should change how we handle it. Rage and anger and tearing down things only begets rage and anger and tearing down things. Don't rename our streets because everybody's forgotten what the name Dundas means anyway. Why change a huge part of history? You know, it's going to change GPS. It's going to change stores. It's going to change exits on the on the 401. It's going to change everything. Millions of dollars. But when they paint over a John A. Macdonald statue, you just cover it up and pull it away. This is so backwards. Everything is so backwards. Statues are meant as a symbol of reverence and celebration. We shouldn't revere or celebrate murderers. Okay, Booze Cruise. Okay. Sir John A. Macdonald didn't kill anybody that I'm aware of. But he did institute things that went further down the line that did kill a lot of people. Statues, you know what? Let's just remove them all. Why? It's a form of idolatry. Let's just go down that road. Let's just tear down every statue on the face of the earth, including crucifixes. Okay? Statues of the Virgin Mary and Joseph and crucifixes. Anything that symbolizes religion or hateful history. Let's just get rid of it all. That doesn't make any sense, does it? Just saying. You can't bake a batch of cookies and then throw all the cookies away because you burnt a couple on the bottom. I'm sorry, folks. I like I said, it took me 30 years to properly interpret one message from my higher power and from Christ. One message took me 30 years to interpret it. The rest, nobody's going to get it right. Why? Because we're all fallible. Still on altar in South Africa, worried and scared for them. Yeah, we've been praying for them too, sweetheart. Yeah, you're right, Joe Mama. And I know people are going to take out parts of what I said, and you can sew it all back together to make me sound like a racist idiot. But you guys know the truth. We're not talking about race. We're talking about right and wrong. Okay? Did what Sir John A. Macdonald do was wrong? Yes. Should he be celebrated for that part that he has done? No. But he should be celebrated for all the good he did for this country. Just add that, hey, this guy was also human and he made a lot of mistakes that cost a lot of thousands of people's their lives. But you don't throw out the baby with the bathwater just because the bathwater's dirty. I'm speaking of things in America. I can't speak to Canada, but here in the U.S., people are fighting to celebrate hateful slave owners and murderers. We learn and correct. Yeah, we learn and correct. But you can also say, I mean, history and everything leading up is so convoluted that the entire world is now doing everything based on opinions and hearsay, And I don't necessarily agree with celebrating out and out murderers, but they are a part of history. So what should happen is that they should be shown in their correct light. So if you're going to tear down statues, then you replace them with something that shows the history and then shows the corrected version. Otherwise, it's going to be okay. It's just, everything's just going to be okay. Right? People want to remember history. You don't want to erase it. The government don't want the history so they can... For our kids, changing the history is bad. I'm not sure I understand what you just said, honey. Could you repeat that? Yeah, and history books are full of are full of history, but I bet you there's 50% more. You could double the size of those books with the actual truth. So let's teach the truth. Not everyone in the States owned slaves. Only the top 2%. The first slave owner was a black man. Exactly, Joe Mama. But the point is, right? We can't scream racism over... We can't correct history. We can't change history. But we can correct how it's viewed from this point on. Right? Residential schools were were brutal, horrific places that were not a good idea no matter how you slice it, because they were put into place to make white man out of natives. Right? Wrong. That's totally friggin' wrong. And people, and churches are burning all over the place. They're burning down Catholic churches. Now, I want to show you two sides of a story. Okay? They're blaming it on the indigenous people for burning down those churches. Now, it's entirely possible that one of those churches was burnt down by angry, frustrated, repressed indigenous people. But remember, I'm not talking about collection plates on the main level. I'm talking about the higher up. For 2 years, nobody's been able to attend church. Collection plates have been pretty bloody empty. And a church burns down. And the church, the organization, gets insurance money for that church. Bing! So, what makes more sense? The churches that are on the lands of the residential schools hold This is what I have been told. Correct me if I'm wrong or do your own research. But the churches on the land of the residential schools hold all the paper records. Why? Okay? And the first church got burnt down, and now more churches have gotten burnt down, and they're blaming the indigenous people. But what makes more sense? The indigenous people who are asking for the records in those churches, why would they burn them down? Or you have the Catholic Church that's had 2 years of empty collection plates, and everything they have is gold. Okay? So the I'm sorry, I'm really tired. The indigenous people want the records that are in those churches on the land. Why would they burn them down? Do you know what makes more sense? Higher ups are burning the church to destroy the records so they can blame it on the natives. Doesn't that make sense? Ooh, we can burn the church down, destroy the records, and blame it on the natives. We'll kill 3 birds with 1 stone. Doesn't that make more sense? But nobody's getting to the truth because lies upon lies upon lies are being layered over everything. You know, I got in a fight with Mary Jane. Why? Because she said, well, the fire chief said it was it was arson and blah, 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 blah. And I said, Mary Jane, what makes you think they can't be paid off? It's the way I view it. He wasn't murdered, in my opinion. Who? So anyway, I'm just saying, and folks, if you're going to come back at me with all these different views, you're entitled to your view, and I'm entitled to mine. I'm just putting information out there, right? Do your own research. Do your own research. I mean, I had one person come on to TikTok say, what, you're Viking, now you're indigenous? I said, I'm a bloody Canadian. That means I'm everything. Just because my skin is white. Oh, and by the way, my skin is not white. That's white. I'm kind of peachy colored. Oh, here we go. I'm not creating anger and drama. Do you honestly think, crazy eyes, do you honestly think that that I don't get angry or I don't get frustrated? Just because I'm the one sitting in front of the camera, I'm supposed to be some kind of guru who does nothing but exude peace? I'm human, man. I'm human just like everybody else. And guess what? I saw somebody on a video say, would you marry outside your race? And the woman said no. And she was a white woman, and everybody kind of went, and she said, why would I marry an elephant? Think about it. We are one race. We all come from Ethiopia. Oh, I know, I got rid of it. I got rid of him. Oh, God. I wish I could get some peaches. I would really, but you know what? The next trip to Costco, I'm going to buy those ones that come from Greece in the glass jars, because those are the closest to home canned peaches I can get. They come in glass jars, and their opinions are like buttholes. Everyone has one, and they all stink. Exactly, Bourbon. Okay, Joe, what are we talking about here? Whose death? Oh, in Ohio, lightning struck the George Floyd mural and destroyed it. Maybe God has a sense of humor. You know what? It's not about the person. It's about sending all the wrong messages. The world is a messed up place right now, folks. Hubby is Catholic. I refuse to abide by lives in a castle and robes and be forgiven him. You know what? this is another thing. Like somebody was bugging me on TikTok saying, "Oh, well, God is only responsible for this quadrant of the universe." And I said, "Well, that may be the God that you know, but the reason I call my God creator, why I call God creator or source of all, because that's exactly what he is. All. Source of all. So don't start telling me that different worlds and different solar systems have different gods, because everybody has different gods. Look at our world. Everybody worships differently. Everybody has things differently. Everybody, celebrates their faith differently. Right? It happens everywhere you go. All over the multiverse. People are going to celebrate different gods and celebrate differently. I just happen to celebrate the God of all. Was making light of and finishing the murder of George Floyd, which I find extremely offensive. That's why she's referencing. Okay, you know what? Too many people are finding too many reasons to be offended and not enough reasons to come together. And this is a huge problem on our planet right now. We are guys, the walls have to be torn down. The walls between people. We have been, for thousands of years, we have been herded into spaces, into boxes, houses, schools, employment, places of employment, cars, cubby holes when you get to work. We have been allowed to be divided up for way too long. People need to start pushing down the barriers that divide us from each other and start celebrating the things that we can celebrate together. All right? Something just went really wrong here. On another note, my grandson and daughter and their friend and I floated down the freezing cold Lake Superior more than one day this past 2 weeks. Love the refreshing days. Absolutely. So, I mean, I'm not here to stir up crap and make drama. If I can't come here and talk to my YouTube family about my frustrations with things like customer service and how the world is handling the dishonor of our past, present, and possibly future, these are really important stuff. This is not important. It's not. Vaccination passports aren't important. All right? Dividing people is important shit. Why? Because the more they divide us and the more they give us more reasons to be divided, the angrier and more frustrated we get, because we're like dogs in a car. Have you ever noticed a dog? Dog's a very territorial animal. Look at Gracie. She can run around outside without a leash on, without a chain on, as long as we're out there. Right? To remind her of the boundaries. Right? But if she's on her chain and Howie's not home, and somebody pulls in the driveway, until she knows who that person is, she's losing her shit. UPS guy continued to walk towards my dog who's baring her teeth, and her hackles are all up. And I'm telling him, buddy, stop. Okay. And he drops it and backs away because she's lunging at him. Why? Because her territory, because she's on a leash, just got a lot smaller, and the main man in the house, Papa, is not here. So she's more protective. Right? We go shopping and she's in the back seat. And people go, "Oh, the boxer." It's like, don't you walk near my car. Because her territory is smaller now. So the smaller the territory gets, the more a dog will defend it with its life. Because it just feels like I'm getting, okay, this is my last piece of territory. I got to defend it with my life. That's what people are like. Okay? The more you divide us up, we're not going to see that we are being divided from each other. All we're going to see is that this is how much space left we have to protect. And we get more rabidly angry because our territory is getting smaller. Wipe out the boundaries. Wipe out the territorial landmarks of our mind and our soul. Take down the padded cubby walls of your 4x4 office space. Tear down the walls of religion. Stop dividing people with Catholicism is idolatry. And if you read the Bible word for word is law, it's idolatry. Christians are right. Muslims are wrong. No. If you go through all of the religions, and I say religions, they all have similar basis to their faith. All of them. Right? We're just recycling stuff. So why aren't we celebrating the commonalities in our belief systems instead of enforcing our right to be different? Anyway, this is all because they want us to worship the government. The government's not big enough to be worshipped. They want us to worship a one world thing. And you know what? We shouldn't be worshiping anything. The only thing we need to worship is our connection with the God of our understanding. Anything else is heresy. It's all hearsay. Have you ever noticed that heresy and hearsay are kind of the same word, just kind of rearranged? I keep getting switched back to top chat. Hey, Cal Storm. Yeah, we've had a bit of a, it's been an emotionally charged day, and I should have left. From now on, Thursday's live streams are going to be after 6 p.m. Because I'm really quite busy on Thursdays. Sundays will be at 4, but Thursdays will be like 6 p.m. For the simple reason as I need to have time to diffuse whatever I picked up, because negativity sticks to you like not. Then the worse the crap, the more it sticks to you. You know what I mean? There's a lot of unrest in the world, and it seems more than ever. Hey, Mary Cook. How are you doing? Oh, honey. Hey, Kel Storm. So, despite the fact, like, seriously, if you're going to, this is the way of the world right now. Customer service no longer exists. You take what they give you and say thank you and move on. Or you don't go there at all. Right? I mean, there is just no way of getting. Everybody needs to respect each other just a little bit more. Right? I am going to phone the manager or send an email to the manager at Tim Hortons in Wakefield and say, if you would like, I will send this to corporate because I've done it before. But customer service, if you can't give good customer service with the people, if the people you put in front of the microphone and in front of the cash can't deliver the customer service that you want them to provide, then put them somewhere else in the restaurant. Like washing dishes. Oh no, Tim Hortons doesn't have dishes. Like mixing batter, okay? Like bringing out donuts. Don't let them deal with the public if they can't speak. If they can't get it right. It's that simple. It's the same with everything else in the world. Yeah, you can tear down statues, but don't forget why you're tearing them down. If you're going to tear them down, you got to replace them with the truth. If you see tearing down statues is tearing down lies, then you better be prepared to put up monuments of the truth. You can't just destroy lies and not replace them with something. Life doesn't happen in a vacuum. If you can't be patient, don't be in that job, full stop. Well, I wasn't patient, but I'm the customer. And I'm not saying the customer's always right, but when the order's wrong, bloody right I am. We all need to be more patient, and I work really, really hard at that. But this is not rocket science. It's not rocket science. We pay for service. If the service is wrong, then what are we paying for? It's the same with everything else. More patience and less bullshit. Don't put people in jobs that they can't do just because you're trying to fill some kind of quota for employing refugees. If they're not going to be able to do the job, then give them a job they can do, like stocking shelves or something, right? A lot of workers in the tourist industry are so well trained these days, and it's a joy, but that's in Hawaii. I mean, apparently Hawaii runs on tourist business. But the thing is, let me give it to you. Let me put it to you this way, okay? Barbie Jr. or Barb Jr. was a restaurant that has been here ever since we moved here in April 2007. And we would go out on Sunday mornings about twice a month and have breakfast. Sorry, folks, I had to take that. That was my nephew in Australia. And I phoned him at 4 p.m. thinking it would be 8 a.m. there, and I was wrong. It was 6 a.m. So he was calling me back. And he said, well, I just saw the address, and so I thought I'd call you back. I said, oh, honey, listen to your message. I sang you happy birthday. So, sorry about that. I really would have loved to have had longer on that call, but, you know, I did leave him a message, so. Arguing about right and wrong and splitting hairs is not going to change until we change. Nothing is going to change if nothing we do changes. Nothing changes if nothing changes. So, stop, if you're going to tear down monuments, we don't live in a vacuum, then you replace them with the truth. If you're going to tear down walls between religions and between races, because there's really only one race, and that's the human race. So let's tear down all those walls and replace them with love and understanding. Okay? Because anger and brutality only begets anger and brutality. Right? I come here and I'm angry and I'm frustrated, and look where I am. I'm with you guys and I'm okay. And I feel really bad that that person in Tim Hortons doesn't know they're doing a bad job. I feel really bad for them because it must be confusing and frustrating for them as well. The onus is on the manager. You either train them properly or you put them in a job that you can put them in, that they can do, right? Everything else, folks, we gotta stop looking for reasons to point out why we're different and start looking at the reasons why we're the same. Okay? I cut myself and I bleed red. So does everybody else on this planet. I don't cut myself, by the way. But if I get cut, I bleed red. Everybody's body temperature is the same, right? 98.6 to 97.9. Somewhere in there, everybody has the same blood temperature. We all have beating hearts, right? We all have brains. Isn't that enough? Isn't that enough? Yeah, I've got grapevines in my backyard and learned how to utilize the leaves like cabbage rolls for my next door Syrian Muslim refugee woman. Oh, I don't like the grape leaves. I don't like the grape leaves. I've had them like when we were in Egypt, and I didn't necessarily like them. I prefer cabbage, but I bet you they're good in something else. Okay, listen. I have to go start dinner because Howie will be home soon, and it's been an hour. And I appreciate you guys allowing me to be human. Okay? I'm human. I am not a therapist. I'm not a theologian. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a scientist. I'm not a historian. I am just another human being trying to find a way that we can all tear down some of the walls that the powers that be above society have shoved us, that have shoved between us. Because the more they separate us, the more they can control us. All right? Now there's 69 people here, and I'm going to give you all a chance to decide whether you want to stay or not for the final prayer. Prayer, spiritual blessing, push of light to the world. You do you. I feel mine with the power and light and love of my higher power, whom I choose to call the creator of all, and his son Christ. But Christ, Christ is just a piece of the equation, right? That's my stuff, you don't have to listen to that. Everybody else, you use your faith to fuel the light that we are going to use to push out to the world. So when we join hearts and hands, and I say there's a ball of light going in a circle around and around and around, you'll get the picture. Think of it as a vortex. And as the light pours into us from God, it starts to make a circle because our hands are linked, right? Society, hemorrhoids, a pain in the ass, and keeps coming back. I always remind myself that the person taking my order might be new, working through their lunch break, etc. I did, and that's why I was very, very quiet. Like that's why I was very, very specific with my order. They still got it wrong. I mean, 3 times telling someone they got my tea right, they got Briar's order wrong. It doesn't matter. It's the job they're doing. They're not capable of doing it correctly. Why? Because it's happened the last 3 times I went. So, yes, we're going to be praying for South Africa for sure. All right. Now we're down to 59 people. For all those who care to, you lean on your faith to fuel your light and your love. But for all those who care to, please help me close with a spiritual prayer and push of light to the world, okay? Let's join hands and hearts and take a nice, deep, cleansing breath. And blow out the candles. I like to think of it as smelling the flowers and blowing out the candles. Oh, Creator. Creator of all, source of all, from which my spark comes. Thank you, God, for reminding me that I'm still human. And that it's easy to allow people, places, and things to frustrate us. And it's really hard sometimes, God, when you're human, not to let shit get to you. But thank you, God. As far as I know, I didn't hurt anybody's feelings today. Why? Because I drove away. There's a lot of unrest going on in the world, folks. God, there's a lot of unrest, and you know that. People are tearing stuff down, burning things down, demanding to be heard in their own little slot of creation. When we need everybody to come together and join hearts and join hands and share the light of the Creator's love. So, God, before we put our spiritual push out, please help us pray. Help us pray for South Africa, for Cuba, for all the world that is, all the places in the world that are unrest, for the unrest in people's hearts and in people's minds and in their souls, for the unrest that brings illness, for the illness that brings unrest, illness, negativity, addiction, rejection, neglect, fear, angst, all these things, God. Pour your light of your love over it all, so that maybe when we push out our light, it will be a little more receptive. So God, fill us with the light of your love. Folks, feel it pulling down into you from above, coming down and filling your body with the light of God's love, with joy and peace and harmony. And feel that light burst out through your arms, connecting you with the person next to you. And it begins to rotate. And as it speeds up and gets faster, the ball of light that we are rotating becomes nothing but a ring of light, because it's going so fast. And it gets so bright that the people are now hidden, and we have to push it out. And it goes out into a big, beautiful, iridescent dome that protects all the people, that lifts up all the people that are trying so hard to share their light with the world. And for the people who are having a hard time finding their light, it's a place for them to take shelter until they do. And it helps push back the darkness. And those that work in the darkness, let them scurry back beyond. Oh God, thank you for the light of your love. May we walk in it, and peace and patience and tolerance always. And forgive us when we mess up and get angry, because we're only human. Thank you. Amen. Miigwech. Namaste. Can be a learning curve, absolutely. Peace be with you. Merry meet, merry part, miigwech, shalom. Doesn't matter what the greeting is, as long as it's said in love. This is the Mrs. Wolfie from our Half Acre Homestead saying, next Thursday the video will be at 6 o'clock, and Sundays will be at 4. Okay? Take care. God bless, and remember, keep tearing down those walls. Because until we tear down the walls that divide us, we'll never be able to see into each other's heart and share. Take care. God bless.